Hello and welcome back to my walkthrough to Final Fantasy 15. In the last episode we were getting very close to the end of chapter 5 after we met up, or we completed the one of the strongholds. I think it was the Arachiol stronghold here in Dusky to relieve the area of the blockades, and also in general, we also got to meet up with Ravus, and we saw a fair few more sort of interactions between the major characters in this game. So I think we'll talk a little more about Ravus and sort of his, reasons for his animosity towards Noctis and stuff like that. So Ravus is obviously Lunafreya's brother. They are of royal, lineage in Tenebrae, or Tenebrae, which is, where the original oracle was chosen from, and has since been passed down all the way down here, to the point where it's obviously now with Lunafreya. He is there when the Niflheim forces attack Tenebrae in sort of before the original timeline of the game. So what happened is that, as told in the Brotherhood anime, Noctis is attacked by a demon. I believe, of the name Marilith, which is a Final Fantasy character which has, has had previous incarnations within the series. So he gets attacked by Marilith, and he's wounded to the point.
See that guy everywhere. I've seen enough of him.
So obviously they're talking about Arden there. But so he gets attacked by Marilith, and what this means is that he is injured, and in much the same way that we see in-game, actually, with the way as we see a curl. We don't really want to be battling curls right now. But yeah, in the way that we see in-game, we could actually take on the curl at level 35. I keep thinking we're lower level than we are, but no. So back on track. So if you notice, when we get attacked by demons, our health gets knocked down from full. We actually lose maximum health. That sort of damage is specific to demon-type enemies, and in much the same way, so Marilith attacks Noctis and he gets gravely injured. The only way to heal these injuries, they found, was to actually go to...
Ready for more? You bet!
They they would have to go to Tenebrae and have the Oracle heal. As we've seen in several cutscenes, the Oracle has healing powers, and indeed, the current Oracle at the time, which was Lunafreya's mother, would heal Noctis. And this is why we see Noctis and Lunafreya engaging with one another at a very young age. Specifically, this is because Noctis went to Tenebrae after being, mortally injured by this demon. So, upon finding out that this was an incredibly risky trip to make, because by this point Tenebrae had been taken over by Niflheim, so you were directly taking someone, Noctis, into harm's way. But Noctis is known, his father knows that Noctis is this chosen one, this very important character within the story, within the lore of the world, and so there is no way that we can risk Noctis, he can risk Noctis dying. So he had no real choice. But obviously being in Tenebrae, being in Niflheim occupied territory, leads to an attack. Niflheim attacks Tenebrae. In the attack, we see that Stella's mother, Lunafreya's mother, and obviously in that, following on Ravus's mother,
So Nox, I've been taking pics of whatever catches my eye, but what do you want to see?
So we're just gonna sort this out here.
What does it matter? Not my camera.
Yeah, I guess you have a point.
So, yeah, there you have obviously a choice to actually choose who you want to have more pictures of in your catalogue. So anyway, what were we saying? We're talking about Lunafreya's mother dying. So Lunafreya's mother is killed in the attack on Tenebrae. So the Oracle, Luna is now the Oracle, you know, as it is earned down from her. And at the same time, obviously, so Ravus sees his own mother die, and he inherently blames Lucis. So he blames King Regis, he blames the line of Lucian royalty. And you could argue his points of view. You could say that the only reason the Tenebrae was attacked was because they were there, but on the other hand, you could also say that you know, it is still Niflheim who's doing the attacking and not Lucis.
Around a little. It's up to Noct.
So yeah, essentially, Regis actually has an opportunity to rescue Luna. He tries to. This is actually shown in the Kingslave movie, where Regis tries to lead Lunafreya away, but Lunafreya refuses to leave her brother alone. And obviously, upon seeing the death of her mother and all that stuff. So it's all pretty dark stuff in many ways. Let's just check our quests, see how we're doing. Thunder in them Var Hills. We need to hand in a lot of these quests, I think. So we will be doing a fair amount of that. I'm hoping that we have at least a couple of quests to hand in. We'll just quickly pop to the marketplace and talk to everyone around there. Although, let's just quickly look through. So that is, we need to find Curler Whiskers. That we haven't done yet. That we need to get access to there, which we don't have. Everyone else means you need to go there. A Rocky End. Chase that Chocobo, Ivor Islands, Tailspin, Wild About Onions, Van Interrupted again, Engaging the Empire. Okay, so it actually looks like that we don't actually have anything to do, aside from hand in our quest, our hunt. And indeed, we probably want to take on another hunt. We'll probably want to see what sort of hunt that is, so before we'll do that, we'll actually just trigger the cutscene here. But anyway, I was continuing on with Ravus. So Ravus obviously has this animosity towards Noctis, animosity towards the Lucian line of royalty, and that animosity is only fueled further upon what happens next. So what happens next is he obviously rises through the Niflheim army, which I guess is something that is could be understandable. But also, he wants the power of the Ring of the Lucii for himself. And he, believing himself to be worthy, being, being a member of the of this royal house of Tenebrae, being related to the Oracle, he sees that, or at least he believes that he could be deemed worthy to replace Noctis as this savior to save the entire world from the darkness. And so he tries to put on the ring, and the ring rejects him to the point where he needs obviously to have his arm replaced in that mechanical sense that that we see now. Okay, so we have a lot of gil. We could actually buy all of these. I think what we will buy is we'll buy this.
Thank you kindly.
And this. But we won't buy the expert color samples quite yet. There may well be other stuff we need to buy. I don't think, actually, no, there isn't. We buy money to buy, you get money to buy things. We might as well buy these things.
Thank you kindly.
I'm sure there'll be future things that we need to spend money on. But yes, so... And then the final thing to which Ravus sees, which is sort of like the final nail in the coffin, is in, he has all of these reasons to hate the, or he feels to hate the Lucians. But finally, there's also this thing where Lunafreya is putting herself in considerable risk, you know. Her actions, her entreaties, her calling upon the services of the gods is literally, you know, wearing her down. It is making her ill, weakening her. And he sees this and he believes that, you know, the guys, Noctis and the rest, do not understand what on earth the sacrifice that she's making. He doesn't believe that they're worth the sacrifice that she's making for them. And so that is all what leads on to that sort of scene there, where, you know, Ravus comes in and sort of throws Gladiolus aside and shows how powerful he can be. So, now that all that's out of the way, what we're going to do is we're going to head over to...
Bloodthirsty brutes. That's the Misc.
We're going to head over here and we're going to finish off chapter... I think this is finishing off chapter 5 by meeting up with Iris here in Lestallum.
Oh, Gladdy,
What's wrong?
I let you down. I never made it to Kayam. The Empire came while you were gone. None of us said a word about Noct. They just showed up and then... Poor Jared.
What do you mean? What happened to Jared?
There was nothing we could do!
It's not right. We should have been here.
I couldn't stop them.
But I won't let the Empire get away with it. They'll pay for what they've done. I promise.
I believe in you, Prince Noctis. I'm taking Talcott, and we're going to Kayam. We can't just stay here and do nothing.
I understand.
So there we have it, the chapter ends on that rather sobering note. So photography, Prompto gets a new filter, being Bloom. Obviously a very brief episode, so we don't really have, a very brief section before the start of the new chapter. To here. So here we are, Chapter 6, A Way Forward. Beneath the Cape Kayam's light, in the south of Clane, lies an underground harbour. It has long served the Lucian royalty, and even now a vessel once owned by King Regis lies at anchor there. Following in his father's footsteps, Noctis heads for the ship. So obviously we see that the consequence of Jared's death there, you know, rather terrible act. Even more reasons, I guess, to hate the Nifs, hate Niflheim and all that. Obviously it applies more because I think something that isn't necessarily made clear by the game, but Talcott's family, Jared and all that, they served the Amicitia, so they've served Gladiolus and Iris for a long
Can't
time.
let her go it alone after everything that went down. It'll be a squeeze in the car, but just for a while.
Shall we then?
Yeah, I don't want to keep Sid and Cindy waiting. They're fixing up the boat as we speak.
We ought to
So here we are. We are now
Actually,
here.
Jared's the one we ought to thank.
Yeah. He really thought of everything.
So now we're here. We've obviously just come out, and now what we're going to do is we're going to meet up with Iris and we're going to set sail. But just before we do that, we actually have we want to at least sort out one quest. So what we're going to get Iris traveling with us for a few times, and sort of the novelty of that is something that if you want to sort of keep going, I guess, is something you can, you know, essentially let her stay along for quite a significant amount of time, actually, which is quite cool. Essentially, you don't want to get to Cayenne, and indeed, the game actually offers you quite a lot of stops along the way from Cayenne. So yeah, if you don't want to go to Cayenne straight away, if you want to have Iris with your party for a little while longer, and there are some nice, sort of interactions between her and the group that you can have. So we want something in the Koenig's bypass. So Disquieted Queens would be ideal. Unfortunately, we are not at a sufficient hunter level to take on that quest yet. So we're going to head around and look for the other restaurants around here and see if we can't get any quests from them. There's obviously the one in the middle of town as well, so the Thoroughfare, I guess.
Hello. Some refreshments. You'd help call pests?
So, we have to Sting in Anger, which I think is the main one for us here. And is indeed the one that we're going to join the hunt for. So we'll take on to Sting in Anger, which involves taking out some killer bees and some wasps, I think. I think we won't actually have any food buffs, because obviously we reached the end of that chapter, so any food buffs that we had at the start of the episode have already worn off. So I think we might as well buy something new. We'll go for the soup and bread. I'm pretty sure that's something we haven't had.
Lovely. I'll bring it right out.
As a small boost to us. It doesn't look like it's going to be a recipe dish, which is fine.
Please come again.
And now what we can do is we can head over back down here, get back to the car and talk to Iris, who will be waiting for us.
Filled her up for you.
Thanks.
Ready to roll?
So, once you proceed, you will be unable to return for some time. Are you sure that you wish to continue? Interesting. So, this is another sort of linearized section, I guess. So, what we're actually going to do in that case is just quickly head over to our new quest, our hunt. And then I think we will. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that.
You my mother or something?
It's been a while since I played this game, I will say. But no, yeah. So what we want to do is we want to take Auto to our quest location, being to Sting in Anger, We will not fast travel. And then, so essentially, we are relatively high level for this stage in the game. I think we will want to proceed with the game relatively fast. On the same side, I would quite like to continue have Iris in the party for a little while longer, just for, you know, something different. I see no reason why not to do that in many ways, you know. Having, you know, these sort of unique character interactions is certainly not going to be a bad thing for our playthrough. So once we, I think, for the this is obviously chapter 6. For the first part of chapter 6, I think we'll get locked into a specific event.
My hair's getting wet. Put the top up.
And then the second half of chapter 6 is far more open-ended. You get a fair few choices along sort of the trip that you make from where we'll go to, which I believe is Old Lestallum, all the way to the next sort of area, which would be
Ignis, pull over a sec.
the next sort of bit, which would be Cape Kayam.
Drop.
Precipitation.
So we want to get our chocobos over. Our bright green chocobos. And we'll just quickly pop over here, grab the ore, and then we will
We'll meet again.
make our way over to those bees and see what sort of see how difficult these enemies are going to be. They're going to be irritating for sure.
Next thing I need now. Eyes peeled, mouth closed.
We can just avoid those Magitex.
Really? Again?
So, killer bees. So, brutal bees and killer bees. So they are weak to normal swords and ice while resistant to electric. So, I'm just going to quickly go into Noctis. We have our engine blade there. We will add to our spells our Blizzara spell. And we might as well start off with a nice Blizzara opener. And we can get a nice little link strike there. Again, a lot of these battles, you know, you don't need to think a huge amount of like setup for. You know, just use the correct weapons. There are obviously, you know, some of the tougher battles, some of the main dungeons. I will have specific, you know, far more specific loadouts and sort of setups that we'll want to consider.
Seems Prompto's been intoxicated.
So it looks like these guys can cast poison, or inflict poison, I should say, on us, which, you know, I guess would make sense. We're getting a lot of link strikes now, which I'm assuming is because we have the friendship band on one of our party members. Oops. Didn't do that. So yeah, you can see that whilst I'm losing health here, I'm not like losing maximum health. Whereas if these guys were demons, I definitely would be.
Nice work.
Beautiful. Okay, so we take out to sting in anger.
I'll give you that.
We take out those killer bees and those brutal bees.
Knocked. On your left.
Got it.
And now what we'll do is we will probably take out these axemen. Okay,
It's
sweet.
the next it's over.
Sudden weather changes. Think we'll see a rainbow?
So we do that, nice and simple, and now what we can do is we can make our way back to the car, which apparently can automatically just take down its the hood and stuff like that. And then we will head back to all set to set sail. Again, no reason to fast travel.
Everything in order?
Yep.
All right.
So yeah, so the next sequence of events, like I was saying, we've got Iris with us. She has a few sort of characteristics. She has obviously not a lot of health, but generally enemies don't target her, which is great. She sort of is far more designed around, I think she can heal you. Again, I've never really spent a lot of time, because in my first playthrough, what I did was I raced through a lot of these quests very early on. I went straight to Cape Cayam in this chapter, and doing so did very much sort of limit my access to a lot of these smaller side quests and stuff like that. Because we can certainly, I mean, we can go to a lot of different areas and stuff like that. It seems like those two markers are very much sort of just blurring over one another. So we will trigger this next set of interactions, and we will have another fortress
Ignis,
to
pull over a
infiltrate.
sec.
A very similar... Oh dear. Glitch, glitch, glitch. Don't park while also having the roof come up / down.
So how about a breather?
So, what was I saying? Okay, so now we do want to trigger this, and we will take on the stronghold.
Ready to roll?
that
Let's get this show on the road.
this part of the game will want us
Let's
to do.
hit it.
Sure.
So, Cape Cayam, if we look on the map, well, if I could show you on the map, I would show you where Cape Cayam is. It's located.
Really reminds me of home.
It sure doesn't look like any of the cars you see around here.
And it's a lot roomier, too. I can't imagine trying to cram 5 people, including Gladdy, into one of those things. Have you ever ridden in one?
Can't say we have.
There was barely enough room for our luggage. Thank goodness you guys could give me a lift.
Think the others made it to Kayam all right?
Well, I suppose we'll find out when we get there.
So another little touch you might notice is that it's getting darker a lot earlier. We see that with like, so now it's 2 p.m. but you know it's already in sort of dusk mode. And that sort of proceeds through the game. It's this sort of a nice in-game way of sort of showing the encroachment
check it out.
of.
See that? That's the Rock of Ravito. I'm like 90% sure.
Not 100.
You almost know your stuff.
All thanks to Jared.
So she's talking about the sort of the rather spiky-looking mountain over there. There's the volcano that is the Rock of Ravito, and we will very much have several events over in that area. There's a lot of really cool lore, or sort of suspected lore
Thank you for
people
driving,
making.
Ignis.
Pleasure.
Are you the only one that drives?
I can drive.
And so can I.
It's not like Iggy's the only one who can drive. He's just the only one we can trust.
Wow, are they that bad?
Not bad at all, right?
Right. But there's no way the big guy's taking any chances with his little sister in the car.
So yeah, the volcano over there, the Rock of Ravito, that's very much a big landmark, but it's also a place where there's a dungeon and some
Sure you don't
fun
need a break?
Okay.
travels that you make.
You are sandwiched in back there.
Have Prompto suffer instead.
Really, it's fine. No suffering here.
If you say so.
So we'll continue to make progress. We're now sort of on the other side of the ginormous gorge that splits Dusky from Clane.
I got some bad news, guys.
Oh, great. Another floating fortress.
Let's pull over.
Knocked.
Relax. We've got this.
So here we have it, infiltrate Fort Valerie, our second, in quick succession, sort of infiltration quest. And this comes as a direct sort of consequence of what happened to Jared and everything, and us wanting to.
Delivering justice for Jared.
There you
For
go.
Talcott, too.
Iris, I'll need you to wait here.
All right.
So here we go. Naturally, Iris does not come along for us with this
Careful, Knock.
section, but she.
Only fools rush in. I
But
suggest
yes, we do
review our intelligence
have a
and devise
chance
plan.
to do that later on. So yeah, over here.
Ooh, you couldn't have come at a better time. Here's your next assignment. Make sure you hand it in like a good student.
So we get a needing to get a Gigantode stake, I believe. And we need to head to the specified area, which I believe is. So where is that? Assassin Malmalam thicket, which we head towards pretty soon. So yeah, we're now in Old Lestallum. There's going to be a fair sort of few more quests around this area that we can actually take care of, such as Everyone Loves Beans and stuff like that. We are still somewhat limited because, and we will largely this episode concentrate on completing this section. So completing the Fort Valerie section of the game, although whether we actually complete the whole infiltration this episode, I'm not sure. I don't think we will.
It's always a pleasure.
So we can buy a new
Anything
set
else?
of recipes for Ignis. We can buy some other things. Along with soundtracks to the DISSIDIA games as well. Healing items, ingredients, all of that
Thank you
stuff.
very much.
Cool, so
That's
that's
it.
good to get, and there's our new recipe.
I've come up with a new recipe.
I could taste test for you.
So we complete that. We can now travel into the diner, and we can talk to the proprietor.
Welcome
To
the
cash in
original
our,
Crow's Nest Diner, where it all began.
Allows us to cash in our hunt as well. We do want to get to rank 4 as fast as possible, preferably, as we get ourselves a green choker. So we may well take on another hunt from here. Obviously, being another crow's nest, we've actually already
You must be
eaten
tired
all of the
from the
food
trek.
that's available here.
Take it easy now.
But we will take out or look at the local area. So some local procurement points. We have
what'll it
all
be?
the usual food, but also the Kenny's special salmon. So I believe this is only available here because this is the original Kenny Crow's Diner.
Look at this.
And then,
bloodthirsty
yeah, so we already have a few other quests here. So obviously we don't want to do the one in Malmaland Thicket. We may well want to take these ones in Lower Weneth. I don't exactly know where that is, but
All right.
we'll probably, like I said, we want to get to rank 4. We want to
Careful
continue
out
to
there.
unlock more and more quests. So we'll look at that. We'll also check out the radio here, see if there are any more radio messages.
High Commander Fleuret departed Lestallum this morning, having completed his tour of the Lucian continent. Occupation forces will nevertheless remain in Lucis, defending Imperial garrison. The Imperial Army pledges to ensure the safety of Lucian citizens via strict regulation of interregional travel.
Okay, so there we have some more information about Ravus.
Blockades of Discayan roadways have been removed. The Imperial Army has also demolished all related facilities erected around the region. The Provisional Government of Insomnia anticipates increased traffic congestion along most local highways and encourages all citizens to refrain from any unnecessary travel for the time being.
I think that was the one that we heard at the end of the last chapter, but I'm not be right. That's obviously. Here's another one.
Story of the raid on Arachiel Stronghold. The army has reportedly seized 4 male suspects in Lestallum and transferred them to the Empire for further questioning. Pressed about rumors of the reportedly deceased Lucian Crown Prince's involvement in the attack, an Imperial spokesperson passed them off as absurd.
Okay, so that's an interesting one. Obviously talking about our raid on Arachiel Stronghold, and then sort of maybe they've sort of taken 4 scapegoats, as it were, and blamed them for what we've done. Obviously because they don't want...
First Secretary Camellia Claustra spoke at a press conference earlier, announcing that Lady Luna Freya is currently in the custody of Altician officials.
I can confirm we have Lady Luna Freya in our care. The people of Accordo, saddened by the rumors of the Oracle's passing, can breathe a collective sigh of relief. Though she is weary from her trials, I am happy to report she is well.
Citing safety concerns during the Lucian peace talks, Secretary Claustra stressed the need for pragmatism in negotiating the Oracle's repatriation.
So there's also some very interesting information there. I think everything else is now just, yeah. So obviously we see first that they have some, they are finding some excuses to explain how, you know, maybe the Prince Noctis is, he's reported dead, but at the same time, you know, he's being spotted, or, you know, he's doing these attacks on strongholds across the city. Is that a copy of Oryx's Culinary Chronicle? So this is another recipe book here. So been 10 days since this fella and I set out for Lestallum, and we still ain't made it back. Cooked up that river crawler he and I cracked open. We won't be starving anytime soon, but we won't be stuffing ourselves neither. Fella looks gaunt as a saber tusk, just lucky he didn't eat like one. Still, it's slim pickings out here, so I'm looking forward to feasting at the food stalls once we get back. So we get some Tomalley-Filled dumplings, another new recipe, which is really good. But yeah, no, that the stuff about Accordo is really interesting. So obviously, Alticia is essentially the capital of Accordo. Accordo is not on the main continent. So if we look at the map, not on this continent. Accordo is located south of Lucis, I believe. It's a group of islands, and Alticia is sort of like the crown jewel amongst that. It's this beautiful, beautiful city amongst islands. And the fact that they've now shown that Lady Luna Freya is in Alticia now shows exactly where, you know, we're going to be looking to get to. We're certainly going to be wanting to follow her to get to Alticia as well. Looks like our hunt is actually really close by, which is excellent, excellent news. So yeah, so Cape Kayam is down here. And that's where we'll be heading once we deal with Fort Valerie, which is this area here. Okay, so what's next for us? So obviously we have the hotel here in Old Lestallum. I think we're going to try and head a little north. I'm not sure how limited we are in actually where we can go right now. So we're going to try and do this quest first. We'll call our Chocobo over. Okay, and hopefully we'll actually be relatively able to, like, still travel about.
Surprised to see him this far out.
Leave no plot of land unconquered.
So we'll just quickly grab this treasure, which is a beetle shell.
It would behoove us to cut.
So you can see the giant sort of red light into the sky. That's obviously the base, the Imperial base there. Looks like this is going to be relatively
looks can be deceiving.
Impassable
they won't make it easy this
forest,
time.
unfortunately. So we'll try and find that path.
Thanks for the
Some
ride.
more pickups. An earth gemstone.
Let's go.
I might be wrong, but I think that might be one of the items we need to upgrade one of our weapons, which is actually rather interesting. I think they are like uncommon drops around these sort of area.
Whoa! Never saw one of those before.
So they are the
This
Spiracorns.
is the last you'll see.
Well, kill it and see how it tastes.
Eurus isn't exactly a bring-em-on backstreet brawler.
Okay, so let's have a look at these Spiracorns. These are very similar to the enemies that we're going to be needing for our hunt. So they are strong against fire. So if we just quickly go to Noctis, we want to use our Ferra spells. There we go, lovely.
Watch yourself, Noct.
I know.
Ouch. But the nice thing about being weak to fire is it means that we can also use the Blade of Branir against them. I think we can definitely say that we cannot really see anything through all of these trees, but there we go, take down that guy. That wasn't too bad. So, where were we heading? There you are.
Easy now.
So we'll continue to head north towards hopefully our quest objective, and then we'll head back and we will probably do our Spiracorn quest and then take camp where we want to for the Valerie quest. And then we'll stop before actually doing the Valerie quest. As you can see, the demons are out in force, so we better just keep away from them. Okay, so this one was just taking out some monsters. Shouldn't be too difficult, I would have thought.
Perhaps these are the bean bandits.
Time to save the legumes, boys.
Oh, it's terrible. Anyway, so what sort of enemies do we have here?
Out!
So we have some Havocfangs. So very similar to the usual sort of fang type enemies. We want some ice type magic on Noctis. So alas, we do not have any. In which case we just want to use probably a war sword. That's what I meant. And here, if we are going to use magic, we'll just use this one. Because, yeah, okay, they're weak to daggers, so we can actually use the assassin's daggers on them as well, so that's quite nice.
I got this. You just sit back.
Okay,
and
so they
watch
want
how
us to
it's
use
done.
2 link strikes.
I bet I could show you a thing or two.
Which
Well
probably
done,
means we shouldn't
by all
want to
means.
just, you know, nuke them with our magic, but there we go.
Just a scout of us.
Easy.
They're really not just as scared of us. 100%.
Ran over here
Very
as
sure of
fast as I
that.
could.
Okay, so,
Never asked you to.
yeah, he's
Don't be
dead.
like that. One shot. What? Oh, sorry about that.
Where is he gone? There we go. Yeah, that was really easy.
Easy save, boys.
That's what happens when you overlevel, you
Seriously.
know, these battles become relatively simple. So anyway, that is Taco's, oh, that was
Back
Taco's
to
quest, okay, so that isn't that now done. We can safely return back to, all the way back to Lead and have a fair few quests for us to do over there. I mean, we still need to head back to Gordon once more, and there's loads of more stuff for us to do. But before that, we will head back to Old Lestallum, and like I said, we will be looking to stay where the game wants us to stay. Which is, if we just find our quests, is actually, yeah, just sort of, I think it's very nearby, so. We may well actually find just a nearby haven instead. That might actually work out better. We don't want to sort of start the Valerie quest and get sort of locked into a series of events that I can't really stop. Okay, so we'll just take this path. Go away, Mr. Giant. pretty sure like those wild demons and stuff like that, they do get tougher as the game sort of progresses. So I'm not sure at what point do they sort of become impossible for us. So you can see there it's talking about the timed quests. So timed quests are obviously events that are ongoing. I've really been wanting to actually cover them, but unfortunately with university work and stuff like that, obviously, you know, my uploads have been really intermittent recently, and all of that is just like, you know, due to uni and everything else sort of being all consuming. So I'm hoping at some point to actually, you know, give a good guide to some of those quests, but it's really sort of just been impossible right now.
Haven't seen her.
But a lot of them are really good. They're good access for a lot of AP if you want to grind AP or experience. There's a lot of good things to look there, but they're far more useful, I guess, if you have, you know, if you've maxed out your characters, if you're level 120, which you can be by now, if you've got, like, you know, the best of the best equipment, etc. And I guess what this walkthrough is aiming to do is sort of show you how to get to that point in, you know, hopefully an enjoyable way. Okay, so the spiracorns are just over this side, so we actually need to sort of go round the fort and then come back inside it, which is a little frustrating, but there we go. Hopefully we don't get any demon activity just on this road. You can see the that's the fort just over there.
Magitech engine. It's close.
Okay, so making good progress.
We'd probably be in Altissia by now.
The port's still closed?
Safe to assume until we hear news to the contrary.
So we can curl around and now head back down here. I'm wondering where's the nearest haven for us, if anywhere. Or actually, we could just head back to Lestallum. I think that would probably make the most sense. Head to Old Lestallum, get our you know, rest up there. Sounds like a good plan, I would say. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to pick up those items because of that spawning demon. So here we are. We find ourselves in the region we need to be. This is when I find out that the spiracorns only come out at day. Yes, they are only active at daytime. Well, that was clever. Well done, me. In that case, we're going to call our episode here to an end here because I've been a bit of an idiot. What we can do is we can actually map. Oh, why can't I return to the car? Let me return to the car. I'm guessing it's because the game's sort of locking me into this area, so... Anyway, we will return back toward Lestallum. Apologies for the mistake there. And we will deal with Fort Valerie and the first half of Chapter 6 in the next episode. So let's pop down here. Is there anything left for us? Is there anything that we may have missed here in Old Lestallum? A gold needle. And where are we? Just here. Stay.
Oh, new faces.
So there we go. We stay at the Three Zones Motel here in Old Lestallum. And that is going to be it for this episode. Okay, so anything cool amongst the photos? Take that one of the bees, that one of the group in the car. Everything else looks, yeah, everything else is fine. Okay, so that is it for this episode of my walkthrough of Final Fantasy XV, and I hope you will join me on the next.